Ivory Coast, Norway. We need to discuss that. Is Mustafa. Welcome to the
Yeah,
show.
very, very big game. This game has the feel of a semifinal or a quarterfinal match. These rounds of 32s are deadly. We're looking at Ivory Coast, which has a very physical midfield. They have a very good right wing in Diallo, who helps create spaces for them to score. And in midfield, you've got Kese, who holds them down and anchor, and Diamande, who, along with Diallo, they work in tandem creatively to create spaces. The only problem is that Ivory Coast doesn't finish well. No questions about their defense. No questions about their midfield. Their midfield is very, very physical, very disruptive, and is a destroyer midfield rather than a creative midfield. That lack of creativity and lack of finishing hurts Ivory Coast because throughout this tournament, teams that they've played, they played Germany, right? They lost to Germany, but they outplayed Germany. They made Germany look like small boys in the middle of the pack. They bullied them, but the only problem is that Germany was able to score some very technical goals, which weren't the fault of Ivory Coast's defense. But the problem was Ivory Coast is profligate, especially on the left. Ivory Coast plays very well on the left. Diamande is good on the left. Pepe is good on the left. And they always get chances in which they can score, but they just don't convert. That may come back to hurt them against the Norway team, which has no weakness. First of all, they have a forest of trees that are even as big as West Africans, even bigger than the Ivory Coast players. The back four for Netherlands is very disciplined. Lebanon plays they play a mid block and they
No,
carefully move the
Norway.
ball from stage. Yeah, Norway, yeah. They move the ball from stage to stage to stage. What I mean is they start off with their build up. Then once they get it to the midfield with Odegaard, then they transition. So what they do is they don't use fast breaks or everything. They transition and build the ball in stages. And what's going to help them a lot is if you look at their right fullback, Ryerson. Ryerson makes runs into the midfield to the right to allow Surloff to go and act as a co-striker with Haaland. So basically, Surloff is a winger, but he moves centrally, and Ryerson moves there when they get to the last third of the pitch, which brings a tandem between Haaland and Surloff. And between the two of those guys, I think they've scored about 5 goals. Haaland has 4 goals. And the key to this whole thing is the magician, probably right now, top 2 or top 3, maybe even the best creative midfielder in football this day, Odegaard. The combination between Odegaard and Haaland is fantastic. This is probably the best midfielder number 9 combination in the world right now for creativity, as good as any team. We know teams like France use Dembele in a certain way, or use what's his name from they use
Olise. Olise.
Olise in a certain, but those are more like wingers, and they combine with Mbappe. But Odegaard is a true number 10 who distributes the ball with the whole team, and him and Haaland is like would be like Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan on the same team. Somebody who can pass the ball, someone who's a wizard, and then someone who's the ultimate best finisher in football. That combination is going to be deadly. And what you're going to see in this game is the question is, can Kese and Sangare and Diamanda in the midfield, can they frustrate Odegaard? I think they can because they're physical. They're very physical, but then they have to realize that Surloff and Ryerson will come into the midfield to help and will interchange with each other. And then Haaland also, who's a bully, is going to also do as much to confuse and frustrate the central defenders. So what I'm trying to say is that Norway is just as physical as Cote d'Ivoire, but I think the main difference is going to be the magic of Odegaard and Haaland, which is going to give them a goal more than Ivory Coast. We know Ivory Coast goals are going to come through the combination of Diamande and Diallo and Pepe working together, but I just don't see them finishing well enough. They'll create chances to score, but they don't finish. And they're going to be playing against a Norway team, which is physical and has a very good defense too. So I'm going to predict Norway 2-1. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. No, this Norway team looks very, very complete. Very complete team. They have two very accomplished strikers. Solot is in fact a striker himself. He plays for Atletico, but he plays like a winger here. And like you rightly mentioned, Ryerson. Ryerson is going to be operating along this yellow line here on the right side towards
Yeah.
Solot, somewhere very close to him. So he overlaps a lot on the right side. And then I expect Odegaard to move into this kind of position, support Haaland in the space in between the striker and the midfielders. And then you have Sanderberg, who is a very good defensive midfielder. He will cover the space in front of the center backs. And like you rightly mentioned, my fear for Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast, their approach play is very good, very pleasing on the eye. But when they get in front of the goal, they've been atrociously profligate. They can't afford to do that against Norway. They have to be finishing their chances. I mean, they were head and shoulders better than Germany in the game against Germany, but they tired out. Germany brought on the jokers from the bench, and the Ivorians became tired, and they had to make substitutions. For instance, Diomande was substituted in that game, and it affected the intensity. So Germany just took advantage of that. So I think Ivory Coast have to be clinical. That's the most important. They can play well. They can, play through the midfield, progressive football. But when they get in front of the keeper, when you have players like Haaland, who is ruthlessly efficient in scoring, you can't be wasting your own chances.
No, you can't waste. And that depth problem is going to be a problem for Ivory Coast. That means they're going to have to start fast and score early. Because the longer the game goes on, and then guys like Odegaard and Sorloth and these, I hate to sound like a Saeed, but these European teams, the longer you play them, the more they figure out ways to unlock your defense. That's how Europe plays.
Yeah,
Africa, we go in short bursts. Let's go. Then we're tired like South Africa at the end of the game. So tough game. I'm gonna wish luck to Ivory Coast. We're proud of Ivory Coast. They're a very good team. But let me tell you, France beat Norway 3-0. Don't even believe the score. Norway sat their whole team down to prepare for this game.
Yeah,
you get my point.
They'll be fresh.
So a lot of people think that Norway is not good. France decided to score a lot of points against Norway. Haaland and co were sitting down, relaxing, getting ready for this match. So what I'm saying is that Norway is a top 8 team. Ivory Coast is a top 8 team. But I think if out of these two teams, the team that would have more of a chance of making it to the semifinals would be Norway. Wouldn't you say so? So we're proud of Ivory Coast. This round of 32 is bloody. It's bloody. Very bloody, if you understand what I'm saying. Because what I'm saying is that you're seeing matchups that are supposed to be later on in the tournament. These guys are supposed to be meeting in the quarterfinals of the World Cup, not in the round of 32. So it's a big waste for one of these teams to go.
Right. My heart goes out to Ivory Coast. They played very well, but I think this is a little too far for them. I mean,
watch out! I think Senegal is going to go deep into the competition. Senegal didn't play well in the first round, but they
go deeper into the competition
because Senegal will be like, "Man, we almost died. We almost died. We almost died." Go ahead. Yeah.
This looks like a game where Ivory Coast will play all the fancy football. Then Norway will get 1 or 2 chances to Haaland, and then they'll score and win. It looks
like geometry. Norway is just geometry. Ivory Coast does break dancing.
I'm telling you.
All right. Okay. Let's move on to.
It looks like a 2-1. Really.
Yeah. Let's move on to the